It has been a minute since we have given you a boat update.
And we just got an email from Paul Hakes at HH with a bunch of videos and photos all about our build.
Now it's legitimately, it's a boat.
It's looking
It's
like
real.
a catamaran now.
Yeah, so it's much more exciting than some of the other previous photos and updates that we've gotten, where it's so many pieces, it's hard to visualize.
Yeah, well, it's just like flat pieces that were being infused, and you're like, yeah,
It's a mold, and
I think that's the hard top, maybe.
Now it's starting to get exciting. So we've got a nice little update and
some videos to share, and we're going to tell you about, well, whatever's on here.
we're just going to dive right into the videos that Paul sent over. He's going to do some explaining and taking us through the factory, and then we'll try to fill in to hopefully make sure that everything makes sense.
Makes sense. And then at the end of this video, we'll sort of fill you in on what's next and what we're really excited about, and maybe ask for a little bit of help because
There's
still a lot of...
It's a lot of learning. This whole thing has been a lot of learning.
Are my eyes wide? Because it's like, wow. Okay.
It's a lot of decisions, yes.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. First video.
It's quiet now, lunchtime here. So I'm standing in 44 number 2, and we're just gonna have a quick look over the production of the 44s. 44 number 1, number 4 in the background. In particular, we're gonna look at this one, 44 OC number 3 for Jason and Nikki Wynn.
See, it looks like a boat.
I don't know why it's so exciting to see that. It's just like,
I know.
it makes me realize, wow, we're so close, but
so far away.
But it's so exciting.
But I mean, this is like the fact that it's taking shape is huge.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, next video.
Quick look around the front of the boat and the finish out of the mold before we go inside and get an update on how we're going. Good looking hull.
One thing that I wanted to point out is everywhere that you see black, that's all carbon
Fiber reinforcement.
Yes.
Yeah, this boat is built strong. All the seams, all the main edges that are going to take the brunt of the ocean.
Bulkheads.
Yeah.
There's so much carbon in this boat. It's not fully carbon. It doesn't need to be.
I think it's like 65% carbon when it's fully kitted out.
I don't know if that's right.
I think it is.
I think it's wrong. Well, whatever. We'll see how it is.
I also noticed that the bridge deck height is really high. It's really clean, so it should be very little deck slapping.
Yeah.
We come into the boat, of course, work in progress as always, and we're just about to glue down the port and starboard cabin soles. So here's the port sole, ready to go down. All its conduits, everything's been computer cut. You can see from the core labels, all the weight's ready to glue it down. And this is where it will go. The bilge is all prepared, painted, mast out.
He was pointing out that the bilges are all painted, which I thought was interesting, that they finish out all of the bilges, so it's really slick and it looks nice, and
it makes cleaning everything on the inside just so much nicer as you're working on things, because inevitably you will end up working on every vessel. And so when you're digging around in those bilges and it's just everything is finished out, and that's the like level of detail that makes us so excited about this, because you're not scraping up against raw fiberglass when you're digging in and around places working on electronics or fixing something that has broken. Yeah, so we're thinking about future us.
yeah, exactly. And there's not like a lot of extra stuff just laid in there. It's just, it's sanded and it looks nice, so it's as minimal amount as possible and it's clean.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's gonna look really good.
Okay, continue.
This is the forward piece of sole, and then when we come to the front of the boat, you have the tech space ready for the big lithium battery bank, about 47 kilowatts, I think. Massive, same size as a Tesla or something. Here's the freshwater tank and bow locker, and then another big bow locker with the shelf in there for the windlass, and then into the sail lockers and bathroom. Here,
I feel like I got to point out that lithium battery bank, that compartment is huge. It looks huge.
It's already all nicely finished out. It'll be a really nice install.
Yeah.
And the whole front of the boat is essentially storage. Sail locker storage, extra compartments. Everything will have a home. I'm telling myself that. You know, it's still a boat, but everything will have a home.
Nothing will be out of place.
No.
Ever. It's just going to be a dream.
They can only do so much.
all dry fitted, again ready to glue. Showing the outline there for the head module to glue in place.
I don't know if modular would be the right word or not, but they are building some of the furniture beside the boat and then placing it in before they put the top on the boat, essentially.
Pieces get made and then they get brought in, set down, and put into place.
Yeah.
So
I guess it is modular.
yeah.
Okay.
Berth,
Look at all that carbon.
carbon construction, pulled berth,
That's sail locker right there.
ready to receive the bunk lid and drawers in the front there.
And those are cable ties and runs that he's got showing there at the very end. So everything will be nicely organized from what we've seen from the other HHs.
Oh man, the organization of electronics and having proper conduits is going to be so nice.
Shall we continue?
Yes.
Here's an overview of the aft berth on the starboard side. Looking in here where the engine will go. Of course, this is going to get the Eco Drive, which is a diesel engine and a prop shaft with an electric drive motor on the gearbox, which you can engage and disengage with electric clutch. And we'll have a massive complement of lithium batteries and solar.
That's going to be so amazing. And our goal, as we've said before, is to only run electric and only have the diesel for emergency charging or emergency situations.
But having that option, I still think is really nice because no matter what, as an ocean cruising vessel at this point, going around the world and spending so much time in the remote locations that we do, we're going to always need some sort of a backup, right? In case electronics fail, you're going to want either a generator or a diesel engine, and now we just have a diesel engine that works as a generator. And I know that we haven't gone into deep detail on the engine and how that electric motor is going to work, but we will dive into that, just not yet.
Yeah.
I'm standing in what is to become the deck. This is the Salon Cockpit floor, entrance down to the port hull, and coming across, of course, the starboard hull. And this is integrated with the cockpit floor in the cockpit.
So what we're looking at right there will be the galley and the sofa
Yeah.
in the salon.
And then you can see the cockpit is all the stuff that's white.
Yeah.
That is the outside cockpit area. And it's so hard because without people in there, you really don't get an understanding of the space. We don't really have a lot of perspective on that yet, but we'll eventually have us standing inside there whenever we make our way to the factory. It's funny looking at it in this video.
She thinks it looks small. I think it looks big. I mean, that might just be a male-female thing. I think it looks pretty big.
It's, we'll just leave it at that and continue on.
All the details for the sliding doors and the helm stations. You can see all this integrated into the molding. These are little pockets just for your iPhones and radios and gadgets.
Okay, I want to point that out because so often those little types of details are not thought of. A place to put your flashlight, to put your headlamp, to put your phone, or exactly, your gadgets. There's always something, even if it's a water bottle. It's just so often there is nowhere with a recess to set something that won't roll or fall off if you are, because inevitably,
even though a catamaran is stable, you hit a wave like this and it wants to make stuff fly.
Yeah, it wants to knock your water bottle over, especially if it's a tall one. You know, so it's like, well, you're at sea, and if it's a rough seas, then and we'll inevitably have those days, right? I just think these little details are really nice.
Winch bases, and then of course all the halyards will be coming up here, and there'll be a bank of jammers. There's also a line driver. If it's a Daggerboard model, this is the OC. It has a mini keel with winglets.
Okay, he mentioned winglets. Another thing that we will go into more depth on later. Think of a winglet as a happy place in between just a standard mini keel and a daggerboard.
Big back window that goes into the aft cabins. Giant lazarette space, sideboarding, and of course we've got our transoms that fold up.
Yes, the transoms that fold up. It does look like it's going to give us a lot of protection with following seas, protection from people trying to onboard while we're sailing, even while we're sleeping. Make it a little extra difficult for them to get on.
Even for fishing, it's just a bit more solid there, right? So it's just less to worry about. It just makes me feel so much more secure, because there are other boats I've been on where you're really tucked in for the cockpit, and that always feels good. And there's nothing wrong with those lovely transoms leading out. It's also good for performance, but I am looking forward to that. And I feel like I'm going to say that about every single feature. This is really exciting. Really looking forward to this, but that's kind of the point of the whole freaking boat, right?
Exactly.
Like you're excited about everything. So I apologize if we seem overly... No, I don't apologize. We're going to be overly enthusiastic. That's my disclaimer.
The lovely aft seating. Of course, the ever so important drink holders.
Okay, this is a big one right there, the aft seating. This was a huge decision for us. They have an option for a backside barbecue grill.
Yeah,
So
but it's not just a barbecue. It's a storage area, essentially.
For scuba tanks, for anything you want to store out there. Plus it has a barbecue grill on top, and we really thought we wanted that. And then I got nervous because I do tend to get a little seasick sometimes, and not having a seat that looks forward could make me more vulnerable to it. So that's why we decided to go with a seat. Plus having the view when you're dining to look out, to have a lower seat versus a high cabinet. And we thought, well, it'd be nicer not to have that big high cabinet.
Yeah, it's hard because like there's pluses and minuses to both. It's really comes down to how you're going to live on this boat, how you're going to use this boat, because it really, I mean, we went back and forth, changed our minds probably 9 million times. It would be nice to have those scuba tanks there, and it would be cool to cook outside on the grill, and it just like it makes for a really lovely like serving area, buffet area, like great for entertaining and all that kind of stuff. But we've been on so many other vessels that have had that kind of aft seat looking forward, because when you're underway, it is nice. Just like sitting in the back seat of a car. Would you want to sit sideways or facing backwards, or do you want to face forward? And it is nice to face forward. And because of the forward windows and just being able to see all the way through the boat, we have such good visibility that we just decided not to give that space up. Yeah.
This is the pattern or plug that was used to create the foredeck and cabin top mould. That mould has now been released off this plug and is now currently getting fibre and carbon laid into it to build the first foredeck. Good looking.
Yes, good looking is correct. Look at those lines. Oh, it's so smooth.
So this is where it sort of comes together. So you saw the bottom half of the boat, and now you're seeing essentially the top half of the boat, or what they set the top half on to make it. But then they're just going to go, once they put everything in.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah, it's a catamaran sandwich.
It's a catamaran sandwich.
So this is just a little show and tell on the rest of the production. This is number 5, currently sitting in the first set of moulds. And number 5 is ready to have the outside top sides bonded on. There they are, all infused, ready to get joined.
These are what all of the updates looked like previously. We were like, wow, what are we going to share? There's like these weird things that don't look like anything, except for like skate ramps. I keep thinking every time I see these, I'm like, oh, it looks like a skate park.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that.
So this one is a couple boats after us. Number 5, we're number 3. So it is interesting to see where ours was 2 months ago.
Our second set of tooling, the 44, has proved so popular. We've actually got a second manufacturing facility in the Philippines, and once we pull one hull out of this mold, it'll be packed off to the Philippines for 44 production there in Cebu.
And that's our plan, to sail to Cebu and definitely break some stuff and then have them fix it.
Do the shakedown cruise. We'll be in the Philippines. We'll spend our first season there. It's great cruising grounds, but just to have great cruising grounds and
the factory, that's pretty awesome.
It's pretty fantastic.
Okay, next one. This one's short.
And here it is. What a beautiful tool it is. We call this a tool. It's just being waxed up and prepared for lamination. This is the mold for the foredeck and giant cabin top, which will house, I think it's about 4.7 kilowatts of solar.
There you go. You're looking at it upside down. That's why we're like, you know, you have to really get creative with envisioning how it will look once it's all complete.
Flipped. It is pretty weird. Even just being at the factory, when we toured the Leopard factory and the Vision factory and St. Francis, you're in it and you're thinking, I understand each piece, but
it's also like it is like a sandwich. It's deconstructed, and you just so badly want to put it together.
Try
but you
and
get
flip around in your mind. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Jason and Nikki, this should be very exciting for you. This is your aft deck and cockpit, all infused, finished, ready to release off the mold. Start doing some work on this. So it's always an exciting time when we pull a big part off a big mold.
Do you think that looks exciting?
It is if you're there and you watch them, like, cause it's from the top and the bottom, and it's like separating and watching that piece come out of there.
Man. I'll see if Paul can send us a video if he hasn't already pulled it out. That would be cool, because it is scary.
Well, because I mean, one false move and you could crack the whole thing, and then you got to start all over again. So
that would delay us by 4 months or so. That would be terrible.
Right, which is why they're very careful. And obviously, no factory ever wants that to go wrong.
Some more complex parts for the cabin top, preparing the pattern or plug for the mold making.
Yep. I don't even know what this is, Paul, but thanks for sending it. I don't think he knew either. He's just like, some things for the...
Even probably for him, he's like, oh, I'm not even going to bother explaining this.
This is a busy little area of the factory where we build our Longerons, Rudders and Daggerboards. A lot of moulds everywhere. Clean pre-preg rooms in the background where it's all temperature controlled and curing ovens.
So a lot of carbon fiber there. Their rudders are all made from carbon fiber for the SC model. We're getting the OC, so ours is not carbon. They make their own Daggerboards and everything as well. And then the Longeron, that's that front bit that's in between the trampolines. And we are upgrading to the carbon fiber Longeron on ours because it's supposed to be way stronger and it can support a third head sail, which is the stay sail.
Yes, which is one of the things we'll talk about here in a bit because that has been the other big decision-making process going on, and we've been debating back and forth on whether or not to get the stay sail option.
This is a quickie overview of the rest of our production. This is shed number 3 where we're producing the HH60s and 50s.
There you go, a little. He's trying to show us the rest of the factory making other boats here. Do we want to watch it?
Yeah, I mean, mine's well,
Okay,
right?
cool.
Like, it's
I think it's interesting.
It is interesting, and so now what we're going to be looking at is all the like the 50s, and he's got several other boats he's about to show us. But
so it is a good time to remind everybody that the HH44 is not ever been built before. We are hull number 3. It's only been in production for 3 or 4 months. You know, there's not one out there. We've never seen it. Nobody's ever seen it. I know some people have told us that they've seen it, but you haven't. The HH44 does not exist yet.
You've seen 50s and you've seen 55s and 60s or 66 or whatever. Anyway, the other boats that they built, this is the very first of the 40 range.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the OC50, hull number 3.
Oh, the 60, hull number 2. That's what ours will look like when they sandwich the top on and start prepping it.
Except for it won't look like that.
Yeah, well.
Headed now across to shed 5. There's a lot going on there too.
That shed, it's hard to see how big it is, but now we're inside of it here. It's
Here we
huge.
have 2 60s and a 50, 55, and a 50 here. Ready to sail out as soon as the crew arrives, which is gonna be next month. So get ready to spot this boat sailing around the northern end of Australia. Lovely 5507. This is for a local client. Very famous sailor, goes by the name of Galman. He's sailed around the world 2 times now on his Tiana 47. Now doing an upgrade to a bit more of a comfy, luxurious and faster boat.
That's not a little upgrade, that's a big upgrade. Our friends go Get About.
Yeah, Getabout have a Tiana. They love it.
Yes, and it is a beautiful, great monohull. But yeah, to go from that to 60?
That's quite, It's,
That's like having 2 of those boats.
It's our last 50 at the moment. We've got 50 number 10 in the moulds. In the background here, the 88.
the 88, that's right. This will be, I believe, 88 number 1.
That
44, that's double. Man.
Monster of a boat. So I don't know who the owner of that 88 is, but when you come out onto the water, you know,
you need somebody to help you.
If you want to go cruising, we would love to get on that boat.
Flush the toilet or something. I'm happy to come aboard and sail around and flush the toilet for you.
What?
Well, that's an easy job. I don't know. I don't think you'll trust me to do anything else.
I don't think it. Oh, come on now.
There's a different view of Synergy that he showed us earlier.
That's a really nice looking boat.
One thing I like about the 44 design is the long roof. So therefore, they've integrated more solar, less shading, and
the boom gets to come down, gives it a lower center of gravity. Which is always good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that whole factory. Wow.
I mean, it is like putting a marina inside of a building. They look like little ants down there.
Yeah.
Just another boat in a hull? No. This is exciting. This is 52, number 1.
Nice plug, Paul.
That would be a shameless plug for their new 52 that they just announced.
Essentially, it's a similar design as our 44, but now it's in 52.
Or really similar to the 50.
They're 50, yeah, they're old 50. They're older 50 design.
Yeah, older.
Yeah. Well, but it has the Eco Drive, and that's kind of why they're excited about it.
It now has, even more solar, the Eco Drive, and a couple of other features. But anyway, I know people, the moment that announcement was made, they're like, oh, you're going to switch, you got to upgrade. But no, the 44 is it's as perfect as we're going to get.
Just perfect. We're happy with 44 feet. Plus, the way that it's designed, what they keep saying and what the numbers look like is it's going to be more like a 47-foot boat on the interior because of those folding transoms.
Yeah, on our 44.
Yeah.
So it is already going to be so much more boat, so much more space than what we had before. And we didn't feel cramped for space before. We've always been happy with the size of our boat. That's why we wanted something similar. It's just the right amount for the two of us.
Okay, so what's next? We have a lot of big decisions to make and some that are approaching very fast.
Yeah.
And the first one that we'll do here before we leave New Zealand is sails. Picking our sails. Nikki talked about it a little bit. We added the carbon fiber Longeron so we can add a stay sail, and we went back and forth. Turns out you can't furl reef your Genoa or your Solent.
It's going to get very confusing.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of the video.
Okay, yeah. We'll dive into that.
Yes.
Anyway.
When we talk about sails.
But we are going to be going to Doyle and picking our sails, and we'll take you through that process. Mm-hmm. Next, the final decision on our electric tender.
Yes, because we actually, to place an order and actually get it in time to have for the boat, we have to pull the trigger. So that'll be happening, and that's also coming up. And then electronics.
We're trying to decide between B&G or do we stick with Garmin. We aren't 100%
there's other
sure.
options out there, but we got to make a decision soon. So we've got to dive into that. But it just feels like everything is everything we have to do a deep dive into to make sure that we're choosing the right thing. And is this what we want? Because everything's expensive.
The biggest one that we need help with right now, because by the end of the month we have to make this decision, I believe, is paint versus gel coat versus vinyl wrap. And we've been talking to so many professional sailors, so many captains.
Just people who've been on a variety of boats with all different types of... Because each has its pluses and minuses for upkeep and maintenance. And everybody just has opinions all over the map. And
we've gotten a couple people that we really trust say stick with gel coat because it's the easiest to repair. It's the easiest to take care of. But then we've heard that paint, if you get a good paint job, essentially you don't have to touch it for the next 5 years, assuming you don't scratch it.
Yeah.
And then vinyls, well, we've seen vinyls in an array of quality of total crap to turning gray because of the sun damage to ones that look absolutely gorgeous and they're 5 years old. So
it's really hard to say. So if you've got an opinion, we've had plenty already, but we would love to continue that discussion.
And if it matters, the gel coat's free on the OC.
Yeah.
So the
paint is an upgrade.
Paint is an upgrade. Yeah, you got to pay for that. And then obviously the vinyl wrap, I would assume would be less than the paint. Metallic paint. Holy crap, they have metallic paint as an option, and it's...
Not an option. Woo! I mean, maybe for somebody else. Not in our budget. So.
Anyway, so that's the update on our Hh44.
Yeah. We're excited.
Yeah.
And I know I've said that about 9 million times, but we are excited. We still have so much more to go. So many more decisions to be made. I feel like I've repeated myself 9 million times already in this video, so I apologize to my editor.
Yeah. Me?
Yeah. Gonna have to cut some of those repeats down. But anyway, we would love to know if there's something you want to know more about. What part of this process are you most interested in? Because, well, there is a lot to building a boat, but we're not going to cover every single detail. So let us know down in the comment section below what you're into. And we'll kind of, off of your interest, that's what we'll cover. We'll see you next time. And we'll be talking about a dinghy or sails. Yeah, because we have to make the decision on both. So here we go.
Bye.